Record is there we go. Welcome to the All Tech Radio Show podcast. We've got Scott on the line as well. Welcome once again, Scott.
Good. It's morning, isn't it? Yeah. Good
It is
morning,
morning.
Robert.
Yeah.
Hey, when are you going to get your doctorate so I can start calling you Doc?
I thought about that, and PSU, Portland State, had a really good deal for people who are already teaching college. You get it like at, I don't know, 60, 70% off, something like that.
Oh, excellent.
But then I thought, boy, every minute that I'm in the school, I'm not creating video courses and writing books,
hmm
so it's going to cost me a lot more than that. So I
Yeah.
decided not worth it.
Yeah. And I haven't really pursued anything lately because the quite often people will get advanced degrees and certifications because their boss will pay them more. But I'm not going to pay myself anymore. So,
There
why
you
bother?
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if I was running short on work, that'd be one thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that would have been a good thing to do 20 years ago, I think.
Oh, well, too late.
It's too late now. It's too late for us. Save yourselves. That's right. So yeah, lots of good, cool stuff in the news going on with technology, such as both Samsung and Apple. Apple's coming out with an iPhone. Samsung's coming out with a new phone. And apparently, the trend has changed over the years. There was a time when the phones kept getting smaller, and then the iPhone came out, and the screens kept getting bigger. So now the
hmm
latest thing is getting skinnier phones. So I don't know why people would want skinnier phones.
They're easily breakable right now. Any thinner, and it's like, you know, what by accident you could just sit on it and boom, new phone. Maybe
Oh,
that's why
oh
they're
yeah,
doing it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And my wife just did this last year. She put it on her back pocket, sat down, forgot about it, and cracked. Okay, new phone time.
Mhm. Yep.
Anyway, Samsung and Apple are coming out with skinnier phones for $1,100 is Samsung's price. We don't know what iPhone's going to be at.
Ah,
$1,100 for a skinnier phone, and it's just a bit thinner. I mean, just like a millimeter maybe, and maybe two. I don't know. And it's lighter. Okay, so skinnier and lighter. Okay, I kind of get the idea. So it's going to be the Samsung Galaxy S25, but it has a less powerful battery than the current devices, and Samsung says it should last a full day of typical use.
they're not going to commit to that.
Now, Apple is even going to be worse. It might not last a full day without plugging it in.
Ah,
So I think I'd take a couple extra millimeters of phone size to, make sure that I don't have to charge my
yeah.
phone all the time.
Somebody did a little joke picture showing the new iPhone and how thin it was, and they
Yeah.
said, "Well, here's what we really want. We want one like that with week-long battery."
Yeah, until they come out with a new battery, I think it isn't going to happen.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
So
give
yeah,
us,
they're going to call it the iPhone 17 Air, mirroring the name of the Apple Slim laptops. So 5.8 millimeters deep is the Galaxy S25. Okay, 1.5 millimeters skinnier. That's it. That ain't a lot to
it's
lose
not.
battery life.
And to spend that kind of money. If you just upgraded to their latest one and then we have this new one coming out, is it even worth it? For me, of course not.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I got the flip phone. I mean, it seems funny saying flip phone, but it's the Razor phone, so it's
oh
got
yeah.
the screen is bendable.
hmm
And it was only like $600 last year, and it works great. I mean, it's thin enough to, put in my pocket and,
hmm
walk around. It's really lightweight. The battery lasts for like 2, 3 days. I mean,
Wow.
I don't use it that much, but uh,
Still, that's being on standby for that long is excellent.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So my only problem is, I have two phones because this phone here is so big. I mean, look how thick that phone is, but
hmm
it's that you
Folds
know
out. Yeah.
yeah, it does the bendable screen, and it's great. It's a Samsung. It's great, but you don't want to really walk around town with this thing because it weighs like
No.
a pound. So I got the Razor to do that instead. And then when I use that, I can just forward calls from my other phone to the Razor.
Hmm.
But yeah, the price is right, and I don't see any difference in features or speed from the $1,000 phones. So yeah, and Razer's not paying us to say this either, but so
But if
feel
they
free
wanted to offer us free phones, that'd be fine too.
if they do. Yeah, I will not turn them down. So Apple is also announcing new accessibility features, which I think is super awesome. So they are coming out. The first thing they say, they're calling this accessibility nutrition labels.
Oh,
So it's going to provide more detailed information for apps on games on the App Store, for people who I guess have accessibility issues. I mean, it gives them more detailed information to say, okay, so if I have vision accessibility, how will this, game or
hmm.
this app, work for me? If I have
Yeah.
hearing issues, stuff like that.
Can
So
I
they're
can I
also,
adjust the contrast and stuff like that in the
yeah.
game to make it easier to see?
Yeah, sometimes people can see, but they just that contrast is a real issue. It also
Hmm.
it has to happen with people like us who are over 39. So when that happens, we just need to change the contrast, to change the brightness a little bit. When I have my brightness is really high, and when my wife sees it, she goes, "Wow, it's like the sun is shining in my face." Like, yeah, that's just the way I like it.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the reverse. I have mine. I have well, I have mine bright. My wife is the same though. It's she'll take a look at it and say, "Turn it down, turn it down. You're
Oh,
wasting
really?
your battery."
Well, I got those wireless chargers. Yeah, I only get phones that charge wirelessly. Well, I think they all pretty
Hmm.
much do that now. Uh,
Nowadays they do.
yeah, I just put them all over the house. So I sit down at the couch, I sit down at the desk, I sit down. I go to bed. I just drop it on the wireless charger. I don't have to worry about it.
Hmm.
So the another other interesting things they've got going with it. Is, and this sounds a little bit deceptive, but let me explain how I believe it works. Is they have a Braille function. Now, how can you have a Braille function on the
Interesting. Well,
phone?
I've seen those things that you can actually put your hands into, and on the other end it'll show the outline. So I wonder
Uh,
if
no, I
how are they
haven't.
do?
Yeah, I haven't seen that. But what this is they're calling it Braille access. But I believe what this is you can point your camera at anything, and it will describe what it's seeing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Um, and then it also is going to be linking in with the Apple Vision Pro, but I'm not sure exactly how it's going to do that. But they do have a new accessibility reader. Maybe it'll have something to do with that. So anyway, really neat. They got new background sounds, personal voices, vehicle motion cues. If you're blind and you're driving, I guess. Um,
Well, that actually, I was looking into that. There's people that get motion sickness. There's things they can do on the phone to help compensate for that.
oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Okay. So yeah, lots of new stuff going on with Apple's new accessibility features. The I guess the is it the iPhone 16 software is coming out here soon, or maybe it has. Have you gotten
I think
yours yet?
it's iOS 18.
18
What
is
is
it?
that? Oh,
Uh,
let me find out. Hang
all
on.
right, you take a look at that. So Microsoft is hosting its annual Build Developer Conference, and they've invited AIs to sit in the chairs because nobody has jobs anymore.
Yep.
So, no, I wrote a post on LinkedIn that where I was referencing Forbes article about 25% of all programmers and developers have lost their jobs in the last year.
Wow.
25%. So, there's not a lot of other types of jobs that are being lost yet, but that's just one industry. I mean, it hasn't happened to the sysadmin group because you need boots on the ground and you need to be able to do things.
Yep.
But there are going to be a lot of jobs that are going to be lost, and people are going to have to figure out, new ways to work, new ways to use technology
Hmm.
because, I would assume we're probably going to hit 50% within the next couple of years.
Yeah. And the problem from my side is the quality of the support is so poor with AI because it doesn't have the background.
Yeah,
And these companies have decided we don't care. It's cheaper. We're just gonna, deal with it until it gets better.
exactly. What'd you find on your phone?
I'm doing the public beta. I'm at 18.5 right
Oh,
now.
really? Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know there was a public beta. Hmm.
Yeah, there is actually, if you want to get brave, there's a developer beta too.
Oh,
But
no.
that's a little bit on the bleeding edge.
I've done developer operating systems before on computers. It never goes well.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if I had an extra phone to play with, that'd be one thing. This is my work phone, so I'm not going to be doing that.
Yeah, yeah. If you have an extra one, that's totally different. Yeah. So yeah, Microsoft's annual Build Developer Conference is going on from the 19th to 22nd of May. So last year, this is the type of things they announced was the integration of Copilot into Microsoft Teams. I don't think anybody cared. And then Copilot and AI powered PCs. I could see people finding use in that. I know that
Mhm.
they're trying to, beef up the motherboards, the RAM, the CPUs, all for AI because they need more power to do these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um,
Could you explain to us what is Copilot actually good for? So I've been trying to figure out, oh, can I use it? Can I integrate it? What will it do for me? And I haven't gotten a good answer yet of something that would help me.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. I mean, it was originally built off of ChatGPT, and then it kind of split off on its own, for Microsoft. And Microsoft, everybody's worried about China, right? China came out with that one
Hmm
locally installed phone AI. I can't remember what it was. Was it a picture of an elephant or a whale or something? I can't remember.
I don't know what it was either, but yeah,
Yeah,
they were raving about it.
everybody, yeah, it was great. That's a tiny little AI program that runs on a phone. We're talking about the most valuable companies in the world, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, and others, using chips from NVIDIA and Intel and things like that. They're so much more powerful, and they're going to advance so much more quickly than what the Chinese have done. I really wouldn't worry that much about it.
Yeah,
And I realize that China can do things cheaper because, their workforce does things cheaper. But we've got billions and billions of dollars invested in, things and it's moving very, very quickly. So Copilot is going to be one of those things that doesn't make Microsoft any money. I mean, they tried to charge for it. They tried to charge
hmm
20 bucks a month or whatever it was. People weren't buying it. So they decided, all right, we're just going to give it away for free. It's going to be on everything. And as far as how useful it is, it depends on what you're using it for. So I'm creating a course right now for LinkedIn Learning on using PowerShell for server management, and I couldn't do it without incorporating some sort of AI. And since it was for LinkedIn Learning owned by Microsoft, I used Copilot.
hmm
So what I did was I typed in, while I was recording, I wanted people to see me do this. I typed in questions for it to create PowerShell scripts for managing Windows servers. And it actually did a pretty good job. I mean, it did make some mistakes, like when I copied and pasted it in, I ended up getting an error instead of something useful. But
Yeah,
yeah, I would say 80% of the time it created scripts to do what I wanted it to do without me having to be a programmer. And I mean, I understand what I'm looking at when I see PowerShell scripts, but I'm not really interested in spending the time learning how to do it.
right.
And so, since this is an introductory course, I wanted people to be able to use Copilot for that. So I could see sysadmins using it a lot.
hmm
And I could see programmers, of course, they're using it all the time as well, but not necessarily Copilot, but they're using ChatGPT for it.
Yeah.
So, I think they're all kind of okay now. A year ago, they were pretty bad. But within 1 year, they've gone from toddler to teenager. So, they're going to
Uh-oh,
be,
that's trouble.
yeah, I know. Yeah. They're going to be wise old owls within the next, couple of years, and that's really when we're going to start seeing some job changes at that point.
Mhm.
And I think Copilot will continue to get better, just like the other AIs as well. Microsoft has to get their act together because they have about 20 different Copilot AI teams, and each one of them calls themselves Copilot, but they're all doing
Ah,
things differently.
yeah. So it sounds like your success rate was better. There's been times I'll go out and look for scripts. I need to do something this, and I can find a PowerShell script, and I have to take it and play with it and edit it, and to make it work. It sounds like an 80% effectiveness rate is better than most. Because a
Well,
lot of
this
times I just,
was, a Microsoft product for a Microsoft PowerShell product, and so
mhm.
I have a feeling that was probably why I had such good success. If I was asking it how to do something in Linux, confidence is low,
Yeah.
or Macintosh or something like that. I don't think it would be as good. But it sounds like you're using which AI are you using for this PowerShell or whatever it
Oh,
is?
I'm not using any AI. I'd go out searching for scripts to do certain things. Because it's like
Oh,
there's something I know it's out there somewhere. Somebody else has done this. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. And sometimes IT people love to tell you what they know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so I go out and find a script, and my hit rate is probably 50% as far as does it actually do what I want.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you might want to try it just to see.
Mhm.
But a lot of people are making the mistake of treating AI like it's a friend or a person. I don't know if you saw that one comment that said, "Hey, would you please stop saying please and thank you to the AI because it's costing us millions of dollars in electricity." So there's also a new medical term, AI psychosis. Have you heard about this?
No, I've not.
Oh yeah. So some people have, are treating whatever their AI of choice so much like a friend or a life partner that they said that if given the chance, they would marry their AI. And they're starting
Huh.
to have hallucinations and they're starting to have, real medical mental issues because they've just gone too far with AI and not enough with real people.
Mm.
So there's this article here from ZDNet which says, 7 things that you should not be saying to your AI, which I thought was really interesting. Things like don't give, of course, don't give away any personal information. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a
Don't tell it your
given.
bank account.
Don't give it, yeah, don't give your credit card, don't, stuff like that. And then there's also don't give it medical information. Uh,
Yeah.
don't mention to the AI where you work. Which I thought was interesting. Don't say, "Hey, I work at U.S. Bank and I'm having this problem with this person there." Don't do that. All the stuff that you type into AI is public information, and
Hmm.
it's owned by the company
It's
in which you type it into, and they can resell it.
Yeah, that end user license agreement that you clicked right through says, oh, by the way, anything you tell us, we can take it and use it for whatever we want.
Exactly. Yeah. Try reading the end user the license agreement on that, and before you click OK. I think you'll be surprised about what it is that you're giving away.
Hmm.
So I was actually glad to see that article because I think a lot of people are giving stuff away. I just don't know if they're going to listen to it.
No, they're going to think, what harm could it do? How bad could it get? And they're going to find out.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess so. So anyway, last year at the big build, Microsoft announced things like price increases, raised prices of
Be-
many of its software products, Windows 365, Office 365, by 5%. I wonder if this year's build conference is going to kind of do the same thing.
mm,
So their Copilot's going to be a big deal, obviously. They're testing some alternative AI models from Meta, Anthropic, DeepSeek. Oh, that's that Chinese one called DeepSeek.
ah,
And that's definitely one you don't want to put any personal information. That's going right to
oh,
China.
yeah,
You don't,
exactly.
don't want to be putting anything in there. So, I, I think that because we're in the awkward teenage years, we're about to find out all the problems. In the toddler years, or we're toddler year, I should say, we were all excited. We were all excited about what we could
Hmm.
end up, doing with AI. Yeah, we were a little bit worried about it, but we were thinking it's going to be, better for humanity than it
Hmm.
is, going to be bad.
And it's so cute.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Now we're seeing something completely different. Now we're seeing a lot of the bad things that can, the jobs loss, the health
Hmm.
issues. I'm shocked at health issues. I understand some people don't have friends. I get that, and they use AI as a friend. I mean, you and I. are like the perfect kind of friends. We talk maybe once a month,
Hmm. Maybe twice.
maybe twice. About once every 3 months we have lunch. I mean,
Hmm.
this this is the kind of friendship that works great for IT
Exactly.
guys.
Exactly. Because you don't have time for more than that anyway.
That's right. But some people are like, oh, I got to constantly have, feedback from someone, and I can't get a real person to do it. So I'm going to, get AI to do it.
Hmm.
Therapy's not a bad idea. Just saying, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard about the AI therapists out there that can supposedly help, but still you're trusting them with all this information about you.
Yeah,
And who's going to buy that information and do whatever with it?
exactly. And for all the success stories of, how AI has helped people with mental health and maybe even physical health. I mean, it helped diagnose, issues. Some people I've read, online, some posts of people saying doctors couldn't figure it out. The AI helped it out. Nobody's posting all the ones where AI led them wrong,
Right.
you know, where they ended up getting hurt or worse because they listened to AI. Just to give you an example, you remember when GPSs were new? How many people turned into rivers because the
Hmm.
GPS told them to? A lot. Let's just say a lot. Or
Yeah.
turned into oncoming traffic or whatever,
Or we went down some
horrible.
road because down at the end there's supposed to be a right and there's not.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And they just blindly, follow GPSs. I remember one time I was in the car with my wife and we were in a new area. We just didn't know. We were looking for a hotel and she said to go left and the GPS said to go right. So I went right and she looked at me. She said, "Oh, you listen to her, but you won't even listen to your own wife."
But the question, who was right?
The GPS.
Okay.
I mean, my wife. My wife was right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Always, she's always right. Always right.
And she listens to the show, doesn't she, Bob?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble. I'll edit that out. Um, so, changing gears a little bit, how much RAM would you say is good to go on, say, a gaming machine, nowadays, or maybe even just a really powerful laptop?
32 is a good starting point. Laptops, I found some that'll handle 64.
Yeah.
I've got some workstations. I've got one nice workstation. It's years old, but it'll handle 128 gigs of RAM.
Wow. And it's not just the size of the RAM, it's also the speed of the RAM. Are you a DDR
Hmm.
4, 5, 6, that kind of thing. Because if you get, and I don't know if this is a one-to-one math ratio, but if you get DDR6 and you're running at 64, gigs, would it take 128 at DDR3? I don't know if it works that way. But maybe you don't need as much with the faster RAM. It's hard to say.
I,
But, in
yeah, I don't
gaming
know.
machine, what's that?
Yeah, I'm not sure that my current laptop has 32 gigs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's plenty, yeah. I know,
Hmm.
yeah, I had 32 gigs on my desktop computer, which I use for video editing. And two of the chips, two of the RAM sticks went bad. So now I have 16. And I'll
Oh,
tell you what, I'm feeling it. I need to, I
oh
need to
yeah,
upgrade.
big time.
It's working, but it isn't working great. But what's interesting with graphics processors, I mean, you're talking 32 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of RAM. That's on the motherboard, or plugged into the motherboard as RAM chips.
Hmm.
But now graphics processors are getting larger and larger as far as the amount of RAM that they have on there. So Intel has come out with a 48 gigabyte graphics processor. Yeah, the graphics card is 48 gig.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're not alone. NVIDIA's coming out with ones as well. Now, the NVIDIA RTX Pro 5000 Blackwell has 48 gigabytes. It
Mm.
costs, they think it's going to cost about $4,500 just for the video card.
Wow.
Now, here's what's interesting is that Intel has been coming out with some pretty impressive graphics cards. They used to make graphics cards and motherboards and other things. They stopped making them because they couldn't make any money with it. So now they're
Hmm.
like, you know what? I think there's some money in graphics. We see Nvidia making all this money. We're going to start making graphics cards. So they came out with some graphic cards that came out late last year, I think it was, or maybe last summer, and they sold out. I mean, they did really well. They didn't make that many because they weren't really, sure what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So they didn't make that money. But now they're starting to really ramp up to be a competitor to Nvidia. And it's going to take a few years, but this one new graphics card I think is going to be amazing when it comes to competition with Nvidia. So for that same 48 gigabytes in an Intel graphics card, not $4,500. Oh no, $750.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're trying to buy market share there, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, they are. They call it the Arc Battle Mage Professional. So anyway, yeah, it's going to.
I've seen an improvement in the onboard Intel chipsets for the video chipsets.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just the standard stuff that's included in the machines is gotten better over the years too.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's good, and hopefully it will continue.
Hmm.
So anyway, if you are in the market for some graphics card, maybe you're doing it for Bitcoin mining, maybe you're doing it for gaming, give it a try. You can, if you order it from Amazon when it comes out, you can always return it. If it turns out to be not what you think it is, whereas if you order it
Hmm.
directly from Intel or from some other sites, you may not be able to. So that's one of the reasons why I like Amazon. My son, hates it because it's the establishment and it's putting small business out of business. I get that. I totally get that. Some things though, when you're worried about, will I be able to return it? Amazon, pretty much anything, can be returned except for food. But
Hmm.
other than that,
Well, and some of the small manufacturers have been driven out of business, but if I can buy it locally, I do.
yeah.
But there's sometimes I just can't. They don't have the inventory, they don't have the availability. Sure, I could order it from a local place and it might take a week, but I need it tomorrow.
Yeah,
So,
that's the other problem. Sometimes, yeah, we need it right away. I liked that being able to just drive to a store to pick stuff up, but online shopping with
hmm.
Amazon leading the whole thing has, yeah, obviously ruined that for a lot of companies. But yeah, for a while, we had a little store where we ended
Hmm.
up before we sold Alltech One, we had that office where the front part was a little store because I thought,
Oh
people
yeah.
are going to want to get stuff, right? This was before one day, delivery from Amazon. I think at that time it was two
Hmm.
days. And I figured people may
Yep.
not want to wait 2 days to get an Ethernet cable or, a GPU or something like that.
Oh
But
yeah.
you know what? It just didn't, it just, people were just not interested. They, they would rather just sit at their computer and just place their order than drive over to
Hmm.
get it. So we ended up converting the most of the store into just, offices, before we ended up selling the business. It
Yep.
was just, people just weren't interested, except for
Yeah,
one guy.
it was a good idea.
Yeah, one guy who broke into the store,
He
broke the
liked us being
glass.
local.
He loved shopping locally. Yeah, he came in, grabbed all the laptops and ran out. He
Oh.
loved it. Oh yeah, and he was good too because we had video cameras everywhere. We had what do you call it, an alarm system all set up, and it was
Hmm.
all armed. Somehow he found a weakness in the alarm system. I don't know how he did it, but he crawled through this tiny little opening, grabbed the laptops, and then headed out. So
Probably had a cap on covering his face so the camera couldn't see him.
well,
Uh,
he found a spot the camera didn't even cover.
ah,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to bet he scoped it out for beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I had a client that had their office broken into,
Uh,
and the people knew the code.
oh, sounds like an
So
inside job.
did could be an inside job, could be the installer just went with the default code,
Oh,
didn't actually
oh, wow. I didn't
change it.
think of that.
I've seen that a lot, on firewalls. There's websites you can go to. Oh, I've got a Netgear, whatever, whatever. And oh, here's the default password, here's the login, and here's the IP address that it uses by default.
Right.
I mean,
And
it's useful information.
what's that?
It, it's useful information from an IT standpoint because then
Yeah.
that'll help me support a client. But it's also useful information from a theft standpoint because they
Right.
can do the same thing.
That is true. And there are websites and apps now on phones where you can watch inside people's living rooms
Hmm.
because there is a default setting. You're mentioning default passwords. There's a default setting on some cameras to broadcast your camera traffic.
Hmm.
And so they're not even blasting through your firewall.
Yeah.
The people are broadcasting out the information to the world.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you can just look inside people's houses and their businesses
Yep.
and all over the world. It's
Yep.
crazy.
There's a lot of danger in plug and play because people think
Yes.
they don't have to do anything else except plug it in and we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Exactly. Yeah. Microsoft's push for Windows 10 users to upgrade to Windows 11 has been, pretty
Push.
strong, but still, a lot of computers just are not capable of, the TPM, the Trusted Platform Module chip is not version 2. And
Right.
what was the other
Now,
thing?
there used to be a workaround on that. The processor is the other thing, but there
Oh,
used to
yeah.
be some reg edits you could do to fool it into thinking that you could do it.
But then Microsoft took that away, even though they're trying to get everybody up to Windows 11.
Hmm.
So
They're
they came
also
up with
trying to
a
push new
new.
hardware too.
Yeah, yeah. So now, yeah, they're yeah, because they do sell hardware now.
Hmm.
Now they're having another deadline. They've pushed it forward again a little bit longer because 240 million users don't have a new enough PC to run the latest operating system.
Hmm.
That's a lot of people.
So have they pushed it past the October deadline?
Let's see, the deadline hit apps rather than the operating system itself. Microsoft 365 apps will no longer be supported after October 14th. No, it's still October 14th. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I've got an issue with a lot of clients because they need to be HIPAA compliant
Oh, yeah.
and the OS needs to be supported. So once Windows 10 drops off, they all got to be Windows 11.
That is a good point. And people in healthcare and, this HIPAA and then Sarbanes-Oxley, it has to do
Hmm.
with financial.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
You're gonna have to, be up to date. That is true. Oh, it turns out this seven things you shouldn't do on AI. It's actually from telegraphy.com. I never heard of that site before. I thought it was ZDNet, but it's a different one. So here it is. Yeah, personal data. Don't give away Social Security, ID card number, pass. I mean, you shouldn't be giving that stuff away anyway.
Right.
Even if people call you on the phone and ask for it, do not give it away.
Nope.
Yeah, financial information, debit or credit card, bank account details. These are all things you should not be typing into AI. Sharing passwords. I mean, some of this stuff is just, common sense, right?
Common sense, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not that common.
And let's see here, explicit content. Even if you jokingly ask ChatGPT for information on how to get rid of someone forever, you could get into trouble.
Hmm.
So,
Your Honor, I'd like to submit this as evidence.
yep. Medical information. It says don't do that. I know some people have had some success with that, but in general, I don't think I would take medical advice from ChatGPT or any other AI. It might tell me to eat something from my backyard, saying it'll make me all better. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff out there that people. Well, it's like my mom used to forward junk mail from a certain political party without even thinking about it. We just forwards it on, and people are going to do the same thing with chat information,
Oh yeah,
GPT
that's right.
and AI stuff. They're going to say, "Oh, it must be right. I got it from AI."
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Meta, which is Facebook, is starting to sell its Ray-Ban smart glasses in India, starting on the 19th. So their smart glasses will be available in India for $353. And when they sell it in the United States, it'll be around $50,000. Because
Oh.
that's just what companies do to us, right?
Hmm.
No, I don't know how much it's going to be, but I'll guarantee it's more than $353 when they start selling it here.
Oh
The
yeah.
only good thing about selling it in India first is they're going to get all the bugs out, in some other countries before they
Hmm.
sell it in the U.S. It's good for us, not necessarily good for India.
Yeah.
So they said the smart glasses launch in India will support Meta AI, which there's AI again, which can answer questions about what's in front of you, translate both audio and video live. That's the thing I think is going to be the most useful. You have a country that has a lot of different, people speaking a lot of different languages. Being able to have something translated live for you, I think is great. Now, in this country, I would say 50 years ago that wasn't a problem here, because everybody pretty much spoke English, and if you didn't, you were ostracized, right? Yeah. But
Yep.
nowadays, there's a lot of different languages being spoken, a lot of different people from different parts of the world, and hopefully, if you've not been, transported back to your original country by the current administration, you might find it useful to have this live type of translation. So it can send it to you. You can also send messages via your phone, make calls for you, and more, all from these smart glasses that are coming out. So right now, the translation works for English, French, Italian, and Spanish, which, well, I guess they're going to have whatever they speak in India. And I'm certain, I'm not,
I think
India, I guess. I don't know what it is, but
there's more than that. So there's quite a few there. It's a big
yeah, I'll
place.
bet. I'll bet they're going to need more than that if it's going to be successful in India. That's for sure.
Yep.
Do you have a Nintendo Switch in your house?
A what?
A Nintendo Switch? You think of it as a network switch because you're an IT guy, but it's a gaming
That's right.
device.
I've heard of those. I don't have one, but I think two of my daughters do.
I figured that somebody in your family had them. I
Yep.
know we have one. We have the original Switch. Well, the Switch 2 is about to come out. Now, I realize there's some great big deal that Trump made with China about the tariffs, right? But
Hmm.
people have been getting all kinds of bills when they order something from China or other countries that they had a big tariff, and they end up paying for about a month. If you ordered something from China, then you had to pay 125% tariff. So the
Hmm.
Switch 2 is costing $450, even though it's a Japanese company. It's being made in China, so it's going to be $1,000 in order to get a Nintendo Switch 2 gaming device.
I
But
saw
now
some
the
post.
yeah.
I was going to say I saw some post that somebody had gotten something via UPS, but the tariff had taken effect after they ordered it, and so they basically you had to have a check available for UPS on delivery.
Yeah, that's right. I have heard of that. I've even seen some people who had already accepted the package, and 2 weeks later they get a bill from UPS for the difference.
Oh no, I
So
don't think so.
crazy stuff. So if you think the Switch 2 price of $450 seems a little bit high, Nintendo has admitted that it definitely costs more than the original Switch was like $300 when it first debuted. I think when I bought ours, it was only $200 because once it's out for a little while, the cost comes down a bit. But they got to get their
Hmm.
initial investment paid for before they start bringing the prices down. So $450. I don't know what the additional cost on the tariff is going to be because although we were at 125% with China, we're now at 30%, I believe, is the plan if I'm not mistaken. So even that is going to raise the price by another what 120 or so dollars, maybe a little bit more than that. Um,
So is this in addition to what was being charged before? Because there were tariffs before. So is this in addition to what was there, or were there no tariffs before?
Well, we did have tariffs, but they
I'm
were
just wondering
pretty
if that.
low, and it varied by
Okay.
industry. So some industries were
Ah.
really cheap, while the other industries were pretty high based on whatever lobby was going on. Because the lobbyists, they pay off the
Hmm.
congressmen, and then the congressmen, make the laws, and then they go, okay. So
They have the best government money can buy.
that's right. So some industries ended up having high tariffs and some had low. But what Trump did was basically, kind of did for the most part, with some exceptions, a flat rate, which is going to make some things a lot more expensive. Now I realize
Hmm.
electronics were sort of pushed off for a little while, but now I think they're back again. So it'll be interesting to see, what happens. But uh, the I don't know if you saw, but the rate of inflation was not that high. But I think it was because everybody was buying things before the tariffs kicked in. So we'll probably
Hmm.
see that CPI index go a lot higher, the next time that comes out, which will be beginning of June. So we'll see.
Oh,
I
it'll
don't know
be
if
the
you have,
fault of the previous administration, I'm sure.
yeah, of course it'll be blamed on them. Have you ever purchased a lifetime subscription to anything?
I don't think so.
No?
Actually, I take that back. We actually signed up for the 24-hour fitness back
A
when they were
lifetime one?
offering lifetime, and the renewal is $20 per person per
Per
year.
month or per year?
Per year.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It was like
Well,
2300. It was 2300 quite a few years ago, and then the ongoing is just basically $100 for the family.
and they haven't tried to, mess with you on that at all?
Not yet.
Well, if you are one of those that feels they need VPNs to browse securely, first off, you don't really know what you're doing. But second, because there's a lot of ways to do this for free, and VPNs
Mhm.
aren't, they're really just proxy servers. They're not real VPNs. But
Right.
the VPN provider called VPN Secure, when they first came out, it's sort of like Nord, they first came out, they said, we're going to sell lifetime subscriptions to our product. Well, this week they told customers they didn't know anything about their lifetime subscriptions, and they said, if you want to keep using this, you're going to have to start paying again. I smell
I,
lawsuit. I don't know.
yep. You, Your Honor, I have no recollection of that.
Exactly. Well, even though it's in writing, but who keeps the end user agreement for that, right? Don't know.
Exactly.
So if you use VPN Secure and you bought the lifetime subscription, you're now going to have to pay to keep that going. I have a feeling they're
Mm.
about to lose a lot of clients.
Companies can change so quickly, and I'm sure they may have had some ownership change in the background such that it doesn't apply to us because we're really not the same company.
Very true. There's a secret way to restart your Windows 11 computer. Did you know about this new secret way?
You mean that hammer that you can take to it?
Yeah, that's the one. No, if just in case your computer ever gets frozen, typically I just hold the power button in until it shuts off. But
Hmm.
there's this new way of doing it, which is being published. You do the usual Control Alt Delete, of course, and then what you do is you hold down the Control key, and then you'll see the click the power button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. So you do Control Alt Delete, but you hold down the Control key and then click the power button, and then it will restart for you. So
Huh.
it is your emergency restart. The other, holding the button and just shuts it off. This will do
Right.
an emergency restart that may be less damaging. So
Hmm.
might be a good way to go.
Yeah, those cold shutoffs get kind of abusive to the machine at times.
Yeah, that is true. Well, we've had another fun and exciting All Tech Radio Show podcast. Hopefully, it will help you in your daily use of technology. And we will see you again next time.
Sounds good.